At age 5, Stefon Diggs' father had started preparing him for the NFL, and he even went as far as saying his shoeboxes would be full of recommendation letters when he got older. Going by this, one would assume he had a smooth journey on his way to becoming one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. However, his journey between age 5 and 14 became difficult overnight after he lost his father. Here's the truth about Stefon Diggs. Diggs was born into a football-loving family, and his father, a fan of the Dallas Cowboys, believed immensely in his talent. Also, he was no doubt his biggest fan. That was all the motivation he needed for 9 years. However, after his father passed, he had to motivate himself, as it was the only way he would be able to make his father proud. Beyond having to be his own motivation, he became a father to his siblings. This meant he gave up his childhood and had to look out for his younger brothers. He did such a good job at this, one of them, Stefon Diggs, turned out to be an NFL star also. In the absence of his father, and with a mother that had to work around the clock to make ends meet, Diggs' life became rough. And this could have been the perfect excuse he needed to give up on his dreams of playing in the NFL. Instead, it became his source of motivation. While in high school, Diggs was already beginning to look like a young phenom. As a junior in 2010, he recorded 810 yards. This is in addition to scoring 23 touchdowns. Beyond the numbers, he was also a runner-up for the Gatorade Maryland Player of the Year. The world knows Diggs as an NFL star, but growing up, football wasn't the only sport he was good at. Dude was also a sprinter, and although he had to quit running professionally to focus on football, his athleticism came in handy in helping him become an elite wide receiver. As a senior in high school, Diggs played so well that year, he could have had a difficult time choosing where he would attend college. Although there were a handful of offers, Diggs knew just where he wanted to be. To him, family was important, so he picked the University of Maryland on February 10, 2012, so he could take care of his siblings. He had offers from Florida, USC, Cal, Ohio State, and Auburn. Clearly, the recruitment letters pouring in meant his father was right after all. Unfortunately, he wasn't around to see his prediction come to pass. Diggs was able to make a choice of the college he wanted to attend because of how well he played in high school. Well, he didn't slow down in college. He continued impressing everyone. He had about 850 yards and 6 touchdowns, which helped him make it into the top 10 of college football and second best in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Diggs' freshman year was great, and it seemed like he was only going to get better in his sophomore year. But things didn't go quite according to plan, and this wasn't because he lost his ability. Rather, he got injured and was done for the season. This injury took place in the middle of the season, after Diggs had played just 7 games. Nonetheless, he was able to produce 587 yards, hauled in 34 passes, and scored 3 touchdowns in the process. The offseason gave Diggs the opportunity he needed to get rehabilitated. So, in his final season at Maryland, he was able to finish with 792 yards, 62 receptions, and 5 touchdowns in 10 games. He could have done better, but missed some games due to injury. Unfortunately, this didn't only affect his season, it also affected his draft stock in 2015. Diggs ultimately made the decision to forego his senior season and enter the 2015 NFL Draft. As much as it was clear that Diggs' talent wasn't in doubt, he didn't get selected until the 5th round by the Minnesota Vikings with the 146th overall pick. Of course, some folks would assume this happened because he wasn't one of the best. It's actually far from the truth. He was selected in the 5th round because of the injuries he had to deal with. He signed a 4-year deal that was worth $2.5 million and a signing bonus of $227,000. Since he was drafted so late, not many people thought he would get the chance to prove himself in his rookie year, but they were wrong. 3 weeks after getting drafted in the NFL, Diggs was yet to taste action. However, everything changed when wide receiver Jarvis Wright and Charles Johnson went down with injuries. Diggs got his first chance in a Week 4 game against the Denver Broncos. Although he didn't score his first NFL touchdown in this game, which the Vikings lost 23-20, He had 87 yards and 6 catches on 10 targets. As much as Diggs had a late start to life as a rookie in the NFL, he didn't need a lot of time to prove that he was one of the best wide receivers in his draft class. Regardless of his late start, he finished the season with 52 catches and 720 yards. This was the second highest receiving yardage by a rookie in the 2015 NFL season. He was second behind Raiders' wide receiver Amari Cooper. Diggs had proven that the teams in the NFL made a mistake by leaving him on the board until the 5th round. In his second season, he had a 75% catch rate and was able to be top 5 in catch rates in the NFL. He finished with 84 receptions for 903 yards and 3 touchdowns. With the Minnesota Vikings, Stefon Diggs had proven that he was one of the best wide receivers in the league. But the Vikings didn't seem to be convinced. He got traded to the Buffalo Bills. He wasn't traded alone though. He and the Vikings' 7th round pick in 2020 were traded for a Bills 1st, 5th, and 6th round pick. The Bills clearly believed in Diggs' ability, and that was what prompted them to give up the picks they did to have him. And this move definitely paid off. Diggs needed to prove himself, and he didn't waste any time doing so. He soon formed a deadly partnership with quarterback Josh Allen. In his first season with the Bills, Diggs had 1,535 yards, which was his best to date. Additionally, he had 127 receptions. By himself, Diggs was super talented. However, his partnership with Allen took things to a whole new level. He was so successful, he got rated as a top 3 wide receiver in the league that year. The 2020 season was so good for Diggs, he made his first Pro Bowl and also went on to make first team All-Pro in the same season. Diggs had a great regular season, but his brilliance clearly wasn't limited to just the regular season. With him in the picture, the Bills made it to the AFC Championship game against the Kansas City Chiefs. Sadly, they lost this game. As painful as this loss was, it was now obvious how talented Diggs was, both as a wide receiver and an NFL star in general. In 2021, Diggs recorded 1,225 yards and scored 10 touchdowns, which were the most touchdowns in his career in a single season at the time. His performance earned him a 2nd Pro Bowl nod and also helped the Bills make it back to the playoffs. Sadly, they went on to lose to the Kansas City Chiefs again in overtime. Stefon Diggs had proven that he was one hell of a player, and with this, he got rewarded with a 4-year deal that was worth $96 million. Finally, he was in the big leagues. Although Diggs had proven himself countless times, with this new deal, it was as though he needed to prove himself again. Well, he didn't fail at this, as he ended the season with 1,429 receiving yards, 108 receptions, and 11 touchdowns. On April 3, 2024, Stefon Diggs was traded to the Houston Texans. He was in the middle of having another record-breaking season when he unfortunately came down with a non-contact injury in Week 8 against the Indianapolis Colts. Stefon Diggs is a once-in-a-generation talent, and where some may say he's at a point in his career where he may begin to slow down, he's showing no signs as of yet. We'll never forget the moments he's given the league, and we can't wait to see what he'll do next. If you had a blast watching this, smash that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to stay updated on our latest crazy content. Drop a comment below and let us know which moment blew your mind the most. Catch you on the next one.